everybody. How are you doing this fine day? And I wanted to welcome everybody to my channel, Just Right. I am Jody Jean Daniels, if you've never been here before. Today we are going to cover part two to unleash your inner writer with OneNote. If you did not see part one, the description will be in the box below. Um, any of the forms I use today are going to be available on my Patreon as a PDF for download. That link is also in the box below. It's only $5 a month, and you get access to everything. I don't have tiers; it's just $5 flat fee. Um, Also, this month I am giving away free Zoom calls to help authors talk out their storylines, just as a way for me to give back to the writing community that has given me so much. The link for that is in the description box below as well to get to my Candly to set something up. All right, let's jump in. I am going to start sharing my screen and show you guys what we are going over today. All right, here we go. So this is what we went over last time, just as a recap. Creating your OneNote notebook and capturing your idea, brainstorming your idea, writing your scene in OneNote, rough story outline in OneNote, and setting world knowledge in OneNote. All of those PDFs are also available in my Patreon if you're interested. Okay, let's jump to what we are going to cover today. Today we are going to be covering capturing your character development overview. It looks like an overview sheet. Capturing your character journey arc sheet. Setting up your OneNote drafting area. Then I will show you an example of how I draft in OneNote using my zero draft to move into a first draft situation before I use my next step. It's how I use Grammarly in my drafting process. So let's just get over here and I'm going to pull up the character development first. This is the character development overview sheet that I've created that I like to use. I like this because everything is all in one spot. And I like to put a copy of it in here after I get in a OneNote document, once I get it filled in. But it just has everything all on one page. And it's the nickname, the character's name, the nickname, the role in the story. Are they the main character? Their age, gender, class, and occupation. Class is more like if there's magic or if there is vampire, werewolf, that type deal. Personality, just a quick blurb is what I normally put in there. The physical description, and then I have a place to put the background of the character. This is where I'm going to put any really important notes that I'm going to need. So if I'm in the middle of writing and I'm like, oh, what is that character? What happened? I can just pull up OneNote, pull up this character development sheet that I've copied and pasted in here, and there it is. There's my information. I also like to capture what does your character want, what drives them, what are their long-term and short-term goals. Relationships is another one. How does your character relate to others? Consider their family, friends, romantic relationships, and other significant relationships. Their motivation. Why does your character act the way they do? And finally, the conflicts. Um, what internal and external conflicts, and how do they handle these conflicts? And I would just, even after I fill out this sheet, I will paste that in here. But if I need more room and I need to write more than is available to me on my sheet, I will come in here and really just dig down into these. But I really do try and keep this part very simple. I try and keep the character development overview fairly short and to the point. It's just a reference page for when I'm in the middle of writing. Okay. Now let's go to the character journey sheet, and that's a sheet that's a little bit more in depth. This is also a sheet that I created, and it has a bigger, broader scope of your character. And again, this is something that will be invaluable to you to be able to just click on OneNote, grab this information. You're in the middle of writing. You don't have to stop and go back through notes or go back to another chapter and read anything because you've got everything here. And again, it's, the name, nickname, your key facts. Um, and when I'm talking about the key facts, are they married? Places they've lived, their age range in the series, um, just different things that you want to be able to go back to. I always keep track of their deepest desire so I don't lose track of their arc when I'm writing. So I always keep that in here. I also do their strengths and their weaknesses. And I just list them out so I have them. Because I don't want to be in the middle of the book and I'm writing that something is a weakness or something is a strength when really vice versa is true. Their overall arc, I just write a quick little blurb like they're going to start here, they're going to move to here, and then we're going to end up here. So I keep that in mind while I'm writing. This is really important to me. It's the path. What set them on this path? And I write a little blurb about how they got where they are right now. Okay. I also have a list that I like to keep with their biggest fear. Um, and just here, I'm going to make this bigger so you guys can see it. Their biggest fear, their true self, the love interest, what's their safe space, and what was the source of their trauma. And I just keep all that right there. Now, the other thing I also do is I keep, oops, I'm trying to pull this over for you guys and it doesn't want to move for me. There we go. I also have notes for Act 1, notes for Act 2, and notes for Act 3. So this gives you a little bit more room to work than you have over here in just their overall arc. And then I have another spot where I write down their total arc. And given most of the time, I will be honest, this does not fit here. I end up flipping the page over and writing it on the back if I have done it by hand. But now that I have this OneNote, I can come down here and make another box and I can just start writing. Okay, I have more art plot now. And then I can just start filling that in and just putting what I've got. And then everything is captured in one place, which I really like. I like to have these sheets. I like to have them filled out and I like them on my, I like having them in the OneNote with this information. But I also like the fact that I can add to it as I need to. And then I can also go in on the copy that I have downloaded and I can make changes there too. I can add things, I can take things out. So that comes in handy too on the PDF. All right, now let's go to story drafting in OneNote. Okay. Now, for time's sake, I've already done this part. Um, I have just started a new page, and I showed you guys how to do that. You just add this here, and you just do your title here of whatever you want it to be. And then I go in and I put what I'm trying to capture now. And I'm like, okay, this is scene 1, chapter 1, introductions. And that's where I'm going to put something like this. I'm going to put the information. I'm going to put the beginning of the story. This is the same story that we talked about last week, the fallen angel story that I'm batting around and thinking about starting, which I have a little bit of time to do that now, so I might work on that too. I'm sorry, guys. I have to catch a sip of water. All right. So after I do this, when this is where I free write. I just sit here and I type, what I'm thinking, the scene as I see it in my head, the dialogue that I hear. I don't worry at this point about any kind of grammar, anything like that. I just free write and I capture the idea. I get it here in OneNote and make sure that I'm conveying now I do want to convey what I want to convey about the characters, but at the same time, I'm not digging too deep in this part. Okay. Now, the second part I want to show you guys is this is how I use OneNote to capture my changing a scene or a chapter from a zero draft into first draft. Okay. And in this situation, this was my first draft over here, where it's chapter 41. And then chapter 4, over here, I'm like, I've had to add a chapter, so that changed the chapter number. I cleaned up some grammar and just some different things. Not a lot of change on this one. But on this one, this is where I started with my zero draft. Well, as you can see in my first draft, totally changed. But you've got them both here together, side by side. So you have that history of what you did, the characters, and it's just easy to get to. So you have everything in one spot that you need to get to the information. And I find that invaluable. And I'll show you an example um, of one. I'm going to try and not to pull up anything that's going to give away anything. Um, I just keep going back down and through here and going through where I rewrite things and where I do things. And then I go back to the random scenes and the random writings. And I do it a lot with the ledger. I use a lot of where I call them rewrites, and this is how I do them. I do the side by side so I have that comparison. And it really helps you when you're capturing information because you can go back to, okay, I really liked that idea. It didn't work right here in this spot. Maybe it'll work in another scene with this information. Or you can highlight something and be like, I really liked that dialogue, but I'm not sure it's good for this scene. But you've captured something really important and you can always go back and grab it and use it somewhere else that it fits a little bit better on. So that's what I like about that part about drafting in OneNote, my zero draft and my first draft, I draft in OneNote. Now, before I move anything into the document that I am going to work out of to create a good enough draft to send to my editor, I run things through Grammarly. Grammarly is a free tool. They do have paid versions, and the paid versions you get a little bit more than you do with the free version. But the free version is very good, you guys. Very good. I'm going to have the link for that in the description box below. And it comes up, when it comes up, you get something that looks like this. My Grammarly, there's a demo doc you can look at, and then you click on new upload. Now you can copy and paste into this, or you can upload. Either, whatever you want to do. Now it comes up with set goals, and it comes up kind of like this. This is all it. But you can go in and set your own. And I set mine to creative, tell a story, describe, general, and informal. Because if you're picking formal, if you're writing something and you have a character that says gotcha, Grammarly is always going to pick up, hey, that's not proper. But if you check informal, it'll leave that alone and won't even look at it and won't even bother you with it when you're going through your edits. Then you'll get something like this. When you've uploaded your scene, it highlights things that it doesn't understand or that it thinks is incorrect and gives you advice and ideas, which I like. You can accept them, or you can be like, no, that changes what I meant in that sentence, so I'm going to skip that and I'm not going to use that. So you can dismiss it. And then you end up with this, which sounds so much better and cleaner. And then I'm ready to highlight this, carry it over, and put it in the document that I'm starting to prepare and get ready to give to my editor. Now, I don't do it in little blurbs. I do it chapter by chapter, so it's faster and quicker. This was just as an example to show you guys so you would get kind of an overview of what Grammarly is really like. So that is our Grammarly. And I really hope that this helped. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm just really having a really good time doing these for you guys and doing tutorials. I had no idea how much fun they would be until I started doing them and making, the sheets and the information that I use into something that I could share. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And please join me on Patreon, book a time with me on Candly, and I will be happy to answer any of your questions about anything you have, writing, OneNote, Grammarly, anything like that. I think that tonight is going to be Thursday night. When I post this, it's going to be on Thursday, so Thursday night. So Thursday night, you know what that means. It is time for Just Right. So we will do some live sprints from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I hope to see you there. And if you are one of my whiskeys, you know what I'm going to say before I say it, but I'm going to say it anyway. I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I am a really awesome group of people's double shot of whiskey. And I'm so proud and so happy that you find me just right. And be good. And I'll see you tonight, guys. I love you. Bye.